but
I
I don't
think we
know.
just
Right, so it looks like everything's
Have
good.
that.
4.1, Councillor Robinson is yours. And that's committee and council meeting schedule.
Yes, thank you very much, Chair Bynum. I just wanted to speak a little bit to the strong mayor's powers that is within this within this agenda, because the budget is not included in the calendar. So I just wanted to speak a little bit regarding that, if I might, for just a moment. On July 1st, I think it was July 1st, correct me if I am wrong. Just 1 second here. So on July 1st, the strongman powers were extended to the city of Pickering. And although, and this is with all due respect there, Mr. Mayor, during the campaign period, you had sternly said no, that you would not be accepting these powers. Now, in less than 2 months of receiving these powers, this will be your third time invoking the strong mayor's powers. The corporation of the city of Pickering and all of us on council speak all the time of openness and transparency and accountability. And yet here we are just doing the opposite of what our values are supposed to be standing for. I do see several problems with this that I want to mention that can arise by excluding council from this important process. First, I find that there will be a lack of accountability. By excluding council from the budget drafting process, the mayor may have unchecked authority over financial decisions. This reduces accountability as there is no democratic oversight or input from any of us as elected officials. Secondly, this creates limited representation. Council members are elected to represent the diverse interests and needs of their community. And if we are not involved in the budget drafting process, the perspectiveness of different segments of the population may not be adequately considered, leading to an imbalance in the way that the resources are allocated. Thirdly, there is a huge potential for biasness. With the mayor having sole authority over the budget drafting, there is an increased risk of personal bias or political considerations influencing the financial decisions. This can undermine the fairness and the impartiality of the budget allocations. And I'm not saying in any way that our mayor would do something like that. I'm just saying that this is a possibility. It's a very strong possibility out there for any mayor. There is also a reduced transparency. So when council is excluded from the budget drafting process, transparency can be compromised. Without proper checks and balances, there is a higher risk of corruption or favoritism and the manipulation of public resources for someone's own personal gain. So the public has limited access to information about how these budget decisions are being made. And it's going to make it very, very difficult to understand and scrutinize the financial priorities of their government. Not including us in the draft budget process also leads to missed opportunities for collaboration. Budget drafting is our opportunity as elected officials to engage in meaningful discussions. It's a time for us to be able to negotiate our priorities, to find consensus among all of us. By excluding the council, our strong mayor may miss out on some valuable insights, some ideas, and some alternative perspectives that could lead to better budget outcomes in the future. So I think it's crucial to strike a balance between the powers of a strong mayor and the involvement of the council in the budget drafting. Collaboration, transparency, and accountability are vital for effective governance and ensuring that the budget reflects the needs and the aspirations of our community. So in closing, excluding council from the budget drafting process raises significant concerns about the erosion of the democratic values, the concentration of power, the lack of representation, the potential for abuse, and the diminished role of citizen participation are all distressing signs of an undemocratic system. This lack of transparency, openness, and accountability reflects poorly on all of us, not just the mayor. It will reflect on all of us being that way. And it's also going to reflect poorly on the corporation of the city of Pickering as a whole. So honestly, because of these reasons, I cannot vote in favor of approving this calendar without having the traditional budget dates included for our council to participate in them. I believe this process undermines me as a city councillor and it lacks democratic principles, the very principles I live by and the oaths that I took to protect. So, Madam Clerk, when the time comes, I would like to ask for a recorded vote, please, if I might. And thank you very much, Mr. Chair, for your indulgence. And
Okay.
thank you.
I just want to point out with the income. So I was going to step in here because the discussion was actually 2024 committee and council meeting schedule here. So I was going to probably ask Mr. Bajoni if you want to address that, because this is your item.
Good afternoon. It's certainly from my department, but it is within the purview of the clerk's office to set the calendar, which she does after some general consultation with you all. If I can just very briefly acknowledge Councillor Robinson's comments and perspective on transparency and accountability. While I completely understand the concerns that she has expressed, Bill 3, once it was enacted by the provincial legislature, it becomes the law that is binding on the city and on all municipal corporations. So the difficulty the situation that staff face when we propose a calendar to you or plan ahead for council meetings is that it's legally not within our power now, due to Bill 3 becoming law, to set meetings for council to exercise a power which the province has removed. So we simply can't. To the extent that anyone perceives Bill 3 as a sort of problem or creating a democratic deficit, city staff don't have any ability to address that at all. All we can do is subject ourselves to provincial law. And so the calendar that's before you really does reflect that.
So if I might, through you, Mr. Chair, to Mr. Bigioni. So this is being forced upon us, if that is correct in what you are saying. So that means that it is mandatory, or does our mayor still have a choice as to whether to include us in the budget process, or is he being told that he is not allowed to include council in the budget process?
Our mayor has decided to make use of the strong mayor powers that are available and that have been created by provincial legislation. That decision having been made with a letter that went out to all of his colleagues, it then remains for city staff to simply set a meeting schedule that facilitates the actual meetings that council is having. The province can't force a municipality to exercise those powers, but those powers are uncontroversially available under Bill 3.
Good. Thank you. I had